Atheists are stupid. They can't answer simple questions, and when they do, they can easily be debunked by the simplest of Christians, or even debunked by folks that are aspiring to be Christian. Let's see where atheists are going wrong, shall we? Hello, I'm the Skeptic, the British floating circle that watches people make extraordinary claims, and then I explain why I don't accept what they're saying. I'm a volunteer with the ACA, and you can see me occasionally on one of their shows, so I was pleased to see a friend of the channel, Kelly, answering a question that atheists apparently can't answer, and then less happy to see AspiringChristian jump in and do some debunking. So I wanted to see what was said. Though, before we see where atheists just get it wrong, if this isn't your first Skeptic video, hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell, and get more videos like this in your feed. And a super thanks to those that hit super thanks in some recent videos. Andreas42, Samuel Force, Condor Boss, Diana Rising, and P.O. Walk to Nowhere. Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe bestows leaves upon you all. More hen. So, the question that atheists can't answer, or apparently answer wrong, is, if God doesn't exist, why do you care if people worship it?
Why do you care if people worship him?
Well, I do care, because people who worship God, no matter what that God is, tend to want to put that God into the politics of the country in which they live. We're seeing that now in our country with this big wave of Christian nationalism. We're seeing it in India with the Hindutva. And these are the reasons that I think that we need to move away from people believing in religion and get people more educated to a secular way of life.
Question. So human society has existed for quite a long time, right? When have we seen a society increase in secularization? When have we seen a society increase overall in atheism? And simultaneously seen better outcomes?
Excuse me, sir, I'd like to introduce you to a few countries, Sweden, Denmark and Norway, which are up there with some of the higher percentages of non-believing countries, but also with some of the lowest crime rates in the world. Though it's all dependent on whether a country is impoverished and has access to education, right?
Lower murder rates, less mental illness. Not happened.
Dude, you have access to the internet. Why wouldn't you just check before saying something silly? Mental health is being recognised more and more as a problem, and so the stats on that are always going to climb, because it's just more prevalent now. Belief in a God doesn't change that.
Right. Communist nations, of course, are great examples of places where there's been push for secularization, push for people to believe that there is no God. And in those societies, we see murder camps, we see people dying of starvation en masse, we see all types of horrendous, evil human activity.
Compared to what? The USA, where in one of the top religious countries on the planet, there are almost daily school shootings, where many folks don't have access to basic healthcare and where it's illegal in many places to not want to carry a fetus. As an aspiring Christian, you certainly are blinkered. Oh, hey, wait, you fit right in.
We don't see progress. Right? We're not seeing progress right now in America, are we? Are things getting better, or less people overall are going to church? Not true of the millennial generation, by the way, by a long shot. But have we seen improvements with the secularization of America?
No, because it's still religious in Congress. The God guys are still the ones making the decisions, and that needs to change.
Of course not. We've seen ramp-ups in criminal activity. We've seen ramp-ups in mental illness with the increase of secularization.
Sir, who are the ones causing the criminal activity?
What evidence are you basing your belief on?
Lack of belief.
This sounds like a faith-based position. It sounds to me like atheists have a faith-based position that if our society was secularized and if people didn't believe in God, then we would see reductions in theft, murder, everything else.
Hello?
It would seem to me the opposite is true.
Well, it would seem to me that you don't understand what faith is, and trying to use what you use to accept that a floating sky wizard exists as an insult is a little counterintuitive, right?
How many countless Christian-run charities are there?
How many Muslim-run charities are there? How many Hindu-run charities are there? How many Buddhist-run charities are there? How many atheist-run charities are there? Well, that was a fun game. And the answer to all of them doesn't demonstrate the truth of the position.
There's a ton of atheist organizations. How much charity are those organizations doing compared to a small sample of the Christian organizations which are feeding, housing, and rehabilitating the homeless?
I bet you the percentage of existing atheist organisations that also do things for charity is higher than the Christian ones. So, checkmate?
There's just no evidence for any of this guy's conclusions there.
Or, there is, but because you don't really rely on evidence to reach conclusions, you may not understand it.
With that answer, I think we'll just brush that one off.
Sense of morality, justice, and sense of right and wrong come from.
That's actually pretty easy, and it's covered by biology because cooperation is a survival strategy. And we see this survival strategy being applied across multiple species that are very social. The more social the species, the more cooperation that is required. So meerkats, for instance, will often alert their entire group to predators at risk of their own life. And humans did that. We consider that moral behavior, but it's meerkats doing it. Is that moral? I don't know. Morals are simply an opinion. And so we see this over and over.
So one's opinion might as well be just as good as another's, right? So if somebody has the opinion that we should look down on a certain sector of the population, maybe everyone who's left-handed should be in internment camps, and that's going to help everyone who's right-handed cooperate better.
Being right or left-handed doesn't offer any real benefit in survival skill, so that's a stupid thing to say.
Maybe 30 million people haven't taken a certain medical product, so we want to other them and put them in internment camps, and that's going to help our cooperation. It's all simply opinion.
Wow, this dude certainly is very opinionated about who he's better than, apparently.
Morality is something which transcends human reason. Morality is something that is just opinion. It doesn't give us anything. It doesn't answer anything aside from saying this is objective. That's not really a great answer to the question.
You mean it's not an answer you like? Jim explained it well there, and you seem annoyed because it doesn't require a cloud guy to have given it to you.
Of these questions atheists can't answer, easily answered. Yeah, easily answered because you put no effort into the answer.
He put more effort in it than you did on editing your video. Oh! Sorry, I couldn't resist that.
So morality is something that transcends human reason, is something that is a conclusion that you can get to without necessarily believing in, a specific deity. As one reflects on their own moral principles, they can see that there is within them a desire for justice.
Considering you think morality transcends human reasoning, you're demonstrating it actually doesn't, because you're human, at least I think you are, and you're trying to reason it, which, in your world, would be impossible to do. The arrogance of some people.
People do not like to see others acting cruelly or treating people poorly for one reason or another. So morality, yes, it is something that is imbued within us. We do have a desire and a passion for justice. If we are purposeless beings, then yeah, it's all opinion, and it doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant. Why do all of us have a passion on morality, though? We do. Christians do. Atheists do. Everyone has moral qualms, moral indignations, things they look at in the world and they can see, hey, this is broken. Why would purposeless evolved pond scum care?
You really think lowly of yourself if you think you're pond scum, buddy.
Stephen Hawking determined that the entire universe is relatively deterministic. So if we're just in one huge domino effect, why even talk about questions of morality? It's all kind of pointless, isn't it?
Because we're here, and we have brains, and we have a finite amount of time here, and we should make it the best we can, right? Why is that so bad?
Right? I mean, there's no purpose, no point. Everything sums up to zero. Humanity will be wiped out at one point or another based on our scientific knowledge. So if we're relying on that for our morality, then nobody's moral position on anything means anything of any substance.
Why did he say scientific like that? Does he not really believe in science? I guess he used magic to upload this video to YouTube then.
8. Do you live in accordance with what you believe, or in accordance with your lack of belief? So, this question, I'm assuming, comes from a standpoint of belief in God. I have a lack of belief in God as an atheist. And I come at that lack of belief as a skeptic. Not enough evidence, haven't seen it, doesn't really jive with me. And if you're talking about the God of the Bible or any real Abrahamic God, I have beef with those entities, you might say. But I don't lack belief in general. There's plenty of things that I believe in, and of course I live by those beliefs. The kind of people who think that atheists don't believe in anything, well, that's straw manning of the highest order. I believe in the essential goodness of people. I believe that my friends and family are there for me. I believe in the efficacy of the scientific method. I believe in that which has been evidenced to me.
First, why as an atheist who believes that we're all evolved pond scum living with no purpose or meaning?
Dude, he just said about straw manning.
Why would someone in that position even bother to have beef with the God of the Bible? Now, I know if I was an atheist, I would say he was behind killing all these people in the Bible, or, they'll bring up something, right?
Oh, I don't know. A fictional character in a story killed other fictional characters. Not really much of a problem there. It's like when Voldemort killed Neville Longbottom's parents. Yeah, it was sad, especially if you like Neville. But at the end of the day, none of it's real.
And there's two things we can get into with that. One, the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament are the same God. It's a relationship of love, and whenever he destroys people, often they're people who are burning babies in mass.
You what now? Have you even read the Bible? There are plenty of times that God killed people that had nothing to do with burning babies.
So if you're mad that he destroyed cultures where they were burning babies, probably an atheist.
Are you okay, mate? Do you just say things and hope people will believe you, despite them being able to fact-check?
But number two, why would it matter? Morality, as they said, is simply opinion.
And that's your opinion.
So mass murder in atheism, it's a difference in opinion, right? One mass murderer might have an opinion that his mass murders were justified.
And because that's not right, there are ways to deal with it. In other animal societies, an individual that harms others is removed from the community. But I'm sure the deities for those species confirms it's just an opinion.
They were going to spread disease. They were going to spread poverty if I didn't murder all of those unvaccinated Christians.
Hang on, who's murdering unvaccinated Christians? This dude makes up some serious crap. Feeling oppressed, maybe?
Whatever it is, right? Mass murder is something that mass murderers and their apologists, if we think about Stalin and the apologists for Stalin, mass murderers have people who will provide justifications for those mass murders, and then it's simply a difference of opinion, man. It's just a difference of opinion, right? So I don't think this question is answered very well either. And so then we get into, okay, so will atheists actually believe in certain things? In the essential goodness of people? You've seen evidence for the essential goodness of people. Do you mean by that you've seen evidence that overall people are good?
I'm sure Jamie could answer that himself, but I know that people around me have the potential to act in a way that benefits themselves and me and the rest of the species.
Or are you saying you've seen evidence that overall people should be good? That's a really meaningless statement. I believe in the essential goodness of people.
I believe that people have the ability to not be c***s. I try not to be a c***, Most of my friends try not to be a c***, so...
Let's take it as you mean that people should be good. Okay, if people should be good, what does good mean? What does good look like scientifically?
Beneficial. That's simply it. But I'm sure others have a better way of putting it.
Scientifically, it looks like organisms that cooperate. Who cares? There's no purpose.
It's really sad that you'd think you have no purpose if you didn't believe in a god. I give myself purpose, and it doesn't involve killing or telling people that they're going to burn in a made-up fireland for not thinking the same way I do.
It's all meaningless. We're all going to be dead within a few decades. Within 100 years from that, nobody's going to remember who you are.
I hope my kids and their kids would know who I was, and a few others who watched these videos.
Even if you have videos with tens or hundreds of thousands of views, still, no one's going to remember your name or who you are or what you did.
Well, that's why I'm working on the greatest book ever written, the history and stories of Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe, leaf be upon her, she who pooped the universe into existence and did a ton of cool stuff for humans to live their lives by.
So let's say he believes that overall people are good, right? Where's your evidence for that? Okay, so since society has secularized, we've seen drug overdoses increase from around 20,000 in the 1990s to over 100,000 a year now. We're seeing ramp-ups in thefts of all kinds, arson, murder.
And how are any of those things linked to not believing in a sky man?
And people are good. You've looked at what people write online, you're going to tell me people are good? Come on, man.
Sounds like you need to change the people you hang around with, matey.
Christianity hits it on the head. We're all the bad guys, myself included, all in need of a savior through our Lord, our perfect, amazing, incredible Lord, Jesus.
What a horrible way to think of yourself. Firstly, Jesus hasn't been demonstrated to be a real person. Secondly, a book that hasn't been proven to be the word of any god is the thing that's telling you that you're a bad person. That's no way to live your life, man, really. And then the video just ends. Was that debunked? Or did he just say nuh-uh a few times? You can go and let him know yourself, as there's a link to the original video in the description. Maybe he did debunk some easy questions that atheists can't answer. Let me know in the section below. I'm going to skeptic this as less of a debunking and more of a load of old waffle. A big thank you to this month's top level ticks on Patreon. George, Godless Granny, Addy Rockart, The Enixes, Chikari, Elizabeth, Whiskey Tech Fred, Rick and Travis, as well as all the $3 base ticks. You can become a supporter on Patreon too at patreon.com/theskeptic. The link is in the description, along with links to all my other socials. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. From me, the Skeptic, stay safe, keep thinking logically and ask questions. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. See you next Saturday.